Okay, so I actually had a really important question on my Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Does Master Chief fuck with his armor on? Hang on. Actually, I'm going to read it perfectly because I worded it a lot better on my Twitter. Hold up.
Right.
One of life's greatest questions. Does Master Chief fuck with the suit on?
I don't think he's fucked though. I don't think he's had sex.
I feel like Master Chief, while probably being able to obtain any space pussy that he wants, probably doesn't have a desire for it. He's an engineered warrior.
Hey, then hear me out. Does anyone from the Halo Reach franchise fuck with the suit on?
Just the helmet.
Like Noble Team.
Yeah. Because the most replies I've gotten is they fuck with the helmet on.
Mm.
Everyone
except George. Except George from Reach, I'd say.
He fucks with the suit on and the helmet off.
No. He just fucks with like the leg pieces, so he's clamped to the ground, so he doesn't move.
Someone told me that they were like, they have like a little, on boxes how there's like a little opening.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's how they fuck.
Hit the mechanical door.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I just had to...
Wait, there are like female Spartans and armored warriors in that sort of thing. Imagine
Works
like
the same way.
imagine having to like feed your mate through like a box to try and get there.
Well, there was an episode. There was an episode of Red versus Blue where Washington, one of the freelancers, he was like, "Yo, I'm eating through my helmet because there's like a vomit function where if you vomit inside the helmet, it automatically cleans it up." Yeah, and then York, who was another agent, was like, "Oh yeah, they haven't gotten that working yet. You better vomit with the helmet off." That's kind of what inspired the thing, because
I like that.
Those freelancers obviously fucked with the suits off.
Yeah, well, they have to. They have to.
Yeah, they didn't figure out how to fuck with the suits on, but you could tell they were working out something because the vomit mechanics, like the auto waste disposal, you could just live in the suit. So obviously they had to account for the need of horniness, right?
Well, that depends, because in the technically in the Halo universe, like how Master Chief is set up is that he's genetically modified and genetically born to, kill or to basically do as the army says. So he basically has no desire, no need. He doesn't know what's sex. Like he's there to do a job.
He has a desire. If he has one desire, he probably has many. Wait, if he's genetically modified, would they just like off the penis and they get rid of the balls too?
At that point, it's just like they would have taught him like, well, wouldn't even told him about it all. Like
confirm, Master Chief is a Ken doll.
Wait, so like would they get rid of all of his reproductive organs, or would he, like when he got his first boner, his suit was like, Chief, that's not how that works, bud?
I think this is interesting, because if he's grown up without even experiencing that, right? I think.
Imagine when he got his first boner. What will happen?
Well, he wasn't in a suit when he was a teenager.
No, but like
he wouldn't have had the suit. He would have had the suit when he was like, I don't know, when he's like mid-20s or something.
What would happen if he got a boner and the suit was like, you got to shove that shit down, mate? Get out of it.
I'd assume that they would have room for that, because the inside of the suit has like, it would be like a silicone layer where it would keep him insulated, because there's Halo 2 where he gets, spoilers if you haven't played Halo 2, he gets knocked off a ship in space and plummets to the ground in the start of Halo 3. So he comes through orbit and smashes into the ground, and he is alive. So I would suggest there is some sort of room inside the suit.
There's a thin layer of rubber.
Exactly.
So would it be
this on the podcast? Can we just talk about this on the podcast?
Yo, I'm actually very okay with this, because would it be like Iron Man's? What would Iron Man's suit be?
See, that's a different one altogether, really, because I mean,
you don't see any like sponge or silicone or any. Should we actually just make this the podcast?
I mean, we can talk about this, but then like, change subjects.
Yeah.
Not like we have to talk about one thing the whole podcast.
True.
So what we do is we could actually sex it into two sections. We talk.
So we could sex it into two sections.
Sex it, exactly. Like
we should put a disclaimer in the comments.
Yeah, it's like this one podcast, and then the crossover is another podcast. Record two podcasts and have one as a backup.
I'm down for that. I do have to dip it like 12:30, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, no, yeah. So back to the topic at hand. I'm thinking because as I said, yeah, he's got that like at least some sort of like high tech sort of silicon layer inside that protects him. And I would, as I said, you would need a lot of room. So if you were to brace for an impact from fucking orbit, you would need it wouldn't be skin tight because if you would hit, it would like break you instantly. And the same thing in Halo Reach, you as Noble 6 get knocked out of an alien ship and plummet to Reach. So exactly.
I have a question for the sex ed master.
Yes.
Is Master Chief's overshield his condom?
No, that's his armor lock. Or as he calls it, armor cock.
Oh my gosh. It's one of those things where I was just streaming the other day and I genuinely don't know how Master Chief and him fucking with the suit on. Actually, no, I do know. It was about a Jesus sim. And I do think
familiar.
Yeah. I do think the validity of having like the little pelvic armor thing come off, that would just like if he wants to fuck with the suit on, I mean some people are into that. We don't kink shame.
Look, I think at the end of the day, if they really wanted to have sex with the suit on, I don't think they would be allowed because you would only wear it during training or during like high combat scenarios, and then once you're done, like you go off and do recreational things, you would have to take the suit off.
Okay, so I've just had a look. I've had a bit of a Google.
A little look-see.
Right, I've had a bit of a Google. And there's 3 layers to the armor, right? There's the titanium alloy outer shell.
Yes.
Right? There's a titanium nanocomposite bodysuit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then inside the titanium nanocomposite bodysuit is a hydrostatic gel. But then there's also like polymerized lithium nibosine and that kind of stuff. So there's like all these different layers, but I imagine that the hydrostatic gel is all the shock absorption.
Yeah, it's like what's that liquid that you can like if you it's like it reacts to force. That's another context. Well,
like a non-Newtonian fluid?
Yeah. So if you hit it hard, it's gonna stop. But if you like, the moment it stops, what is it? What's the word for it? Like
stops moving.
Yeah, stops moving or stops having a certain amount of force applied.
Oh, like cornstarch.
Yeah, like a cornstarch. Yeah. I'd say the picking up.
I watch Mythbusters. I know what you're talking about.
Hey.
It's like when the slow-mo guys did the speaker with the non-Newtonian fluid, because so much pressure was underneath it was moving, but then when nothing was there, it was like liquid. Yeah, so I would say the gel would be the same. So if they were to hit the impact, it would like create like a hard outer body shell, and then once it hasn't as much force to it, I don't know, it's kind of relax a little bit. And also, if they have a bodysuit as well, they would have to take the bodysuit off. So I'd say the armor stays off because you would have to take off the suit.
I feel like the suit comes off.
Suit comes off during sex.
Yeah, otherwise they'd probably need like an extra 3 inches to just get past suit first.
Yeah, that would have to take because the armor's like the outer shell and then the bodysuit's the inner shell, so you'd have to take the bodysuit off.
So can you leave the helmet on?
Oh yeah. Yeah, leave the helmet on.
Because we still don't know who Master Chief is.
No, we do.
John 117.
Oh god damn it, you two. Are there any other other than Iron Man who would fuck with the suit on?
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern. Sorry, Ryan Reynolds. Deadpool. I'm so sorry.
Deadpool would fuck with the suit on.
No, I don't think Deadpool would, because okay, recently I rewatched Deadpool 1 and 2. I think he fucks with the suit off.
So you're saying?
I'm pretty sure he does. Yeah, he does. But like, I feel like as a meme, he probably would.
I don't think anyone who was with Deadpool would let him fuck with the suit on, out of principle.
But he body bits charred.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's like it's kind of like you've got to accept the person. You got to accept everything.
I mean, avocado Ryan Reynolds is still hotter than I am.
Yeah.
Not,
I mean,
not
same.
wrong, not wrong. But I feel like he'd at least do it with the mask and like reenact the scene from American Psycho. Like, come on! If he's known for his references, then he would fuck with the mask on and do like he's in the mirror, like, yeah, I'm Deadpool.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Would you ever allow anyone to do like a Halloween special kind of mask, like here's Johnny or anything kind of bullshit to you, or is that too fucking weird?
It'd probably mess with my flow.
Yeah, I think it really depends. Like, if I was like in bed and then somebody burst in and goes, "Here's Johnny," I'd be like, "Whoop!"
I agree with you.
But if somebody bursts in with the fucking Master Chief helmet and the fucking Halo music starts playing.
Exactly. Why is that?
Oh, staring down at you.
I recently saw a TikTok. It was a trend that was going around, and it was like, what song have you done it to the most? The two that I saw that really related to me was the PlayStation loading screen sound. It's always been my PlayStation. Come on. And then the Halo loading screen. Like,
yeah, like it's epic. It's epic for any occasion. Because
I think actually, you know what? The Halo theme song was probably one of the only DLCs I bought for Guitar Hero 3.
Oh,
back in the day.
Iconic as hell. It's iconic as fuck.
So if you had Guitar Hero 3 on Xbox, on the Xbox store, there was the Halo 3 theme song for Guitar Hero 3.
Oh, it's epic.
I bought the shit out of that. I was like, yep, I'm getting that one.
Happily pay money for it. Because I remember I actually watched a video of the recording of the Halo 2 theme song, which is the rock one that you get in Guitar Hero 2. Ooh. And the guy, one of the composers, he's just sitting there and he's like, "Hey, let's just try this." He goes, da, 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 and I'm like, "Whoa,
let's go."
And he's just like, "Yeah, let me try this." Yeah. Starts doing that solo. I'm like, you just created like an iconic fucking soundtrack. Just by going, "Yeah, let's try this out." Give it a shot.
People that are musically talented like that scare the absolute bejeebus out of me. I'll be like the triangle guy in the background, like ding. That's me.
Sorry, what?
Tsukiyama. But yeah, no, that sounds like an incredible crossover. Segue. Anyone call for a segue? Hello? 911. This is a segue. Sorry. Just cut that out.
I'm going to insert footage of someone riding a Segway.
No.
But like crashing.
with the Halo theme.
Oh my god,
I'm sure I could find a Master Chief Segway. Like someone in a Master Chief suit on a Segway. Crashing.
Oh, it's the internet.
100%. Yeah.
You can find anything on the internet.
I find that like, kind of amazing. You can find anything on the internet. If you have the wherewithal to Google it, you'll probably find it.
Yeah.
It's magical. It's magical.
Mm.
Just like the segues. But, speaking of Halo, they actually, well, I know this. Halo have done a crossover with a lot of Microsoft products or games for a very long time.
Mm.
And I know I'm the car guy. I always go back to Forza because actually they did a crossover with Halo where you can drive the Warthog.
No.
Yes, I've played that.
Yes.
In Forza Horizon 4.
Maybe I get Forza.
And the theme song goes like, the theme song plays as well, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, it's on the classical radio channel, so you can play the Halo theme song. But they actually introduced the Warthog in Forza Motorsport 4 on the 360, but it wasn't drivable. It was only part of their Auto Vista, which was like, you could look at the car, you could open the doors, you could look at the back, but fully look around this thing. You'd have Jeremy Clarkson describe. Oh no, sorry, you had Cortana describe what the car was, but then real you know, gamers got a taste when Motorsport 3 came out and you could actually drive the Warthog. And in 4, there was a mission where Cortana, they actually changed the Forza Motors or the Horizon 4 map to be like a discovered planet with all like the alien, the Covenant sort of places everywhere. They changed the background to actually being Halo.
Mm.
It was sick. It was so cool. But
That sounds so good.
But yeah, I actually have a Warthog and I've made it red versus blue themed.
I've always wanted a Warthog IRL because Rooster Teeth did they did a video once. Yeah.
Where they drive it around and they get Subway.
Yes.
Oh, it was so cool. But I remember another crossover. So they actually did Final Fantasy where you could drive the Regalia from Final Fantasy 15. So it's the massive limo that you see in Final Fantasy 15. Oh, people are there. We'll show it on the screen. They did a Cyberpunk crossover where they got the Quadra from Cyberpunk, so you could drive that as well. But yeah, funny, like Forza being this massive thing, they do heaps and heaps of crossovers, and it's funny seeing online, you know, when you're doing like an online serious race, and you know you got like say like a Honda, you got like a Ferrari, then you got like a Lamborghini, and then you see this fucking Cyberpunk car shooting past, and then another Warthog shooting on the other side, like da 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 da.
Oh, that sounds like the best kind of time though. Just it almost reminds me of GTA when you've got like absolutely just pimped out cars and then you see this absolute kind of shitbox of a car and it's like, yeah, they're gonna win the race, you know this. Someone's pimped out that car to the max.
Oh yeah. Did GTA ever do any crossovers?
Not that I recall off the top of my head.
I don't think they have.
They always stuck to like themselves, I always believe. But like I felt like GTA would have been a fantastic opportunity to do like heaps of crossovers. Like you got this massive explorable world that you could like. They've taken ideas from culture, like they've got car culture, they've got high roller culture, they got, you know, sort of party culture, nightclub culture. So it would have been a good idea to kind of do crossover stuff.
They apparently do have a couple big ones. It's also GTA is more mentioned in other series rather than other things being in GTA. So stuff that's in GTA, there's not actually much of it. Although
they've got like a DeLorean car.
Yeah, it's yes. Reference because nothing. What GTA is, well, at its core, is a parody of like modern life. So they do a lot of parody. So recently, GTA came out with a tuners update, which is like all car culture, and all of their cars are based off real Japanese cars. And one of the cars is based off the car from Initial D, which is, they call it like the Futo instead of like what is it? Instead of tofu. And they have like you can actually get a decal that's got like the Fujiwara what is it? Decal on the side, like in Initial D. So there's references to other pop culture in that game, but not direct references.
Yeah.
The only big and well-known
players to make the connections.
The only big and well-known reference is a Red Dead Redemption one, which is yet again another Rockstar.
Yeah.
They did a Red Dead Redemption crossover.
Yeah. But other than that, it's just GTA being in other media. Big Bang Theory, Lost, Better Call Saul. Like it's
Lost?
Lost. Yeah,
was it Lost?
Yeah, there was a reference to GTA like mentioned in passing.
Interesting.
Like it just shows you how long GTA 5's been around. Like,
yeah,
you know, what I mean?
2013. I will never forget the day because I remember pre-ordering it, running home, and it was sitting on my desk, and I'm like,
I was like, I have an 8-year-old that's as old as GTA 5. My daughter was born in 2013. Like,
that's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Skyrim is older than your daughter.
That is true.
Fallout, New Vegas.
Correct.
Wow.
I'm trying to think because I don't know if this is a crossover as well, but more of a promotion crossover. I don't know, but I remember Cyberpunk actually did a crossover collaboration with Porsche, and you can actually get a Porsche 911 Carrera, a 74 Carrera in Cyberpunk, and it's Johnny Silverhand's car.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay, look, you know, I'm a sucker for that stuff, and seeing like myself drive a Porsche in the year 2077, like it's all I ever use, and I thought it was really cool. And Porsche actually made the car IRL, which they got the old Porsches, and then had like the whole Johnny Silverhand thing.
Technically, the car in game is like 103 years old, right? It's doing well.
It's a classic.
It's
It's a museum piece by then.
Yeah, it would be, and it's still because Johnny Silverhand's retro.
Mm.
But that was really cool. Like a lot of people look, if we're gonna talk about crossovers and like brand sponsors and stuff like that, I don't mind like marketing in games, like if it's done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they say they suddenly put in, I don't know, like they put a Porsche and they make a Johnny Silverhand, like I think that's cool. I personally, because it adds a bit of realism to the world. Personally,
Yeah.
Obviously, if it happens in other scenarios, like it's just like plastered everywhere, like.
Or like the main characters drinking cans of Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Death Stranding. Oh, I still haven't played that.
Oh god.
Oh, Cancer Monster. Oh, how weird.
Oh, how weird. Ha 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 ha.
Gonna be me. But no, it's not just like cans of Monster or cars or anything. Other video games have done that as well. Recently, as of like early to later 2021, we've been seeing a huge trend in games doing big crossovers with Resident Evil, because we've recently had the release of Resident Evil 8, which is Village, with Lady Dimitrescu, vampire goddess.
You could call vampire lady.
We love her. But yeah, I currently, she's the one in the white dress, big black hat, and she's like, I'll come and stomp on you, boy. And everyone's like, yes, please.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
She was a huge meme. Not even a meme. She was just a figurehead.
Yeah. Completely destroyed Samsung Sam.
Yeah.
Blew Samsung Sam out of the water.
100%. But yeah, so there was a huge trend in video games, memes, everything kind of trying to get on Resident Evil's bandwagon. And Dead by Daylight recently did a huge crossover. They introduced 2 survivors, Nemesis as a killer. Jill and Leon were the survivors, as well as a DLC of Claire and Chris. And they added a map, which was called Raccoon City Police Station, which I fondly refer to as Rack City, bitch. Rack City, bitch. I had to.
It's coffee and disgust.
But yeah, the map is accurate, like perfectly accurate to, is it Resident Evil 2?
2, 3, 1. Yeah, those 2.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was watching your gameplay, Divine Pine on Twitch.
Support each other. Woo!
Because I was watching it, because I'm a bit of a Resident Evil fan, and I went, that's so accurate. Like, even like the corridors and the windows, like even like where the dead bodies were, like was completely accurate to the game, and I was shocked. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah. It was like it's perfectly accurate to Resident Evil, but I think what the developers didn't take into account is it's not a good map or gameplay for Dead by Daylight. It's not good for killers, it's not good for survivors. It's beautiful, it's so well done, but maybe they should have considered or done something for Dead by Daylight. How weird it is that it's in a Dead by Daylight game. But your ranged killers don't have anything on it. It's good for your stealth killers a little bit, but everyone gets lost. Maybe we'll get used to the map the more we play it, but it's still got so many glitches and bugs. It was deactivated for the first 3 months. You could only play it in custom games. It still doesn't work on the consoles, and including a Switch. There are just so many issues with it. Yeah, like when you try to moray someone, which is when you kill them specially, when the killer's little...
yes, I know the Dead by Daylight terminology, like kids.
Yeah, you actually can sometimes glitch out like vertically and horizontally, and it's a whole issue. A lot of things are specifically wrong with the map, and the cameo is great. The killer Nemesis, fantastic. He's so broken. It's so good when you actually win against him. I don't know, the map itself, it's accurate. Is it for Dead by Daylight?
No. And that's the issue, that sort of balance, because like me seeing it as a fan, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. This is awesome. Like, Leon and Jill, it's like, oh, this is so cool. Seeing Nemesis, I was scared of Nemesis, and I'm like, oh, that'd be really cool. But it's, you gotta learn that, obviously different games require different things. That's why we're not all playing the same thing, unless you're playing Call of Duty every single year for the for the millionth time. But it's a bit, Yeah, I like as I said when I first came into, I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. But then when you told me about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like it, like in Dead by Daylight, because I used to play Dead by Daylight. Like, I used to play a little bit of Dead by Daylight. As someone who tried to understand the game and had fun with it, I'm like, oh, you need these big open spaces. You really need these big open spaces to run around in, because if not, like you're screwed.
Yeah, even the indoor maps with the corridors, they like when I was throwing a hatchet as Huntress, it didn't clip around the corners because I mean I threw a couple days ago. I threw a hatchet down a hallway and it clipped halfway down the corridor, and as if the wall was like in the middle, and I was like, that was a fully charged hatchet that should have gone straight down the hallway. And even after game, the survivor was like, I should be dead. And I'm like, good game, I love you. This is like it. Everyone in the stream was like, yeah, that was kind of monk on my guy. And I was like, just doing my job. Doing my job, sorry. I need more coffee. I think the best gaming crossover ever that I've ever seen, Smash Bros.
Oh, guaranteed. As somebody who plays quite a little bit of Smash Bros, guaranteed. I've been playing Smash Bros since like the Wii days, like Brawl. And I remember for the first time seeing, because I remember I saw Brawl when I walked into an EB Games, and I saw it like playing on the screen. I had no idea what it was. And then I played it, and I went, "Ooh, this is cool." Like you see Mario, you see like Luigi, you see Link, you see Kirby, you see Donkey Kong. But then in Brawl, they introduced Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. But I didn't know who that was at the time. I'm like, "Ooh, Army Man! I want to play as him. He has guns."
Pew pew.
But it's seeing that crossover is really cool nowadays, like because the latest one is obviously Smash Ultimate, and now they're adding so many brand new characters, and it's the coolest thing to see, because there's so many different playing and fighting styles when you play Smash Bros. Because when I play Smash Bros, my main is usually Link. I like the sword, I like the gameplay. I just like Legend of Zelda. I like Link. But when my boy Joker from Persona 5 got announced, your boy hopped on that bandwagon, and I play nothing but Joker. And it's they've got, what have they got? They got a lot from like Capcom. They've got Sega. I think they have Sega with Sonic. They
have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles.
No, they've got so what do they got? They got okay. So the characters, they've got obviously Joker from Persona. They've got Final Fantasy. So they've got Sephiroth, and they have Cloud. They've got Piranha Plant. They have Banjo-Kazooie. They have Steve from Minecraft. They have
Mega Man.
They've got Mega Man. They have Metal Gear Solid. That's it.
Pikachu. They've added in Pokemon recently. Yeah,
a lot of Nintendo titles. But it was quick. Like when we first heard that Banjo-Kazooie, not a really big, an old school Nintendo title, but now mainly a Microsoft title.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I was blown away, and I'm like the possibilities are endless, and people are always predicting the next character, and it's because like who's gonna add next? People want Crash, people want Spyro, people want Master Chief, people want Dante from Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
And apparently there's like a method to adding a character to Smash Bros as well. Just to pick them at random. Apparently, this is from what I've heard. Apparently, for it to make it in Smash Bros, it has to have started off as a video game first, or a main Nintendo title. So if they have a Capcom game, or if they have a Capcom character, they won't really choose any other Capcom characters. If they have a Rare character, they won't choose any other Rare characters. But if it's a Nintendo title, they will kind of go nuts on it. That people predict these crazy things for this crossover, but I feel like Smash Bros is like the greatest crossover, as you said, Pine, because it's done so flawlessly. The game is always super fun. It's great for newcomers. It's great for veterans as well, and it's great. It's straight out flat, a really well made game, and you can see that Sakurai absolutely loves this game because it's his child, it's his baby. And I was watching, I think I was watching a video of him, like he was like showing off a new character, but he was like showing you all the moves, and he is so good at the game that he plays with 2 controllers.
That's crazy, yeah.
Like he'll play one character and then verse himself. That's how good he is. And I'm like,
yeah.
What?
This game is so incredible. I remember when they were announcing Sephiroth, and people won thousands of dollars of money, just so much money because they actually do betting pools and stuff. Kazuya from Tekken 2, Tekken 3, maybe.
Tekken in general. Kazuya, he's from every Tekken.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I'm not a Nintendo person. I've never really played Nintendo games. He recently got rolled out in like June, July, or something.
Yeah. I think he's one of the latest characters. I think he's the latest coming.
People were so hype about that, but Sephiroth, I think that was such a thing. People were streaming it. People literally screamed and cried when Sephiroth was announced. Like, it was genuinely just such a hype thing. People have watch parties about this. This is how good of a game it is. And the main shtick and the main kind of everything about this game is that it's a crossover game. It's built around crossovers and cameos and everything. That's the whole game. It's
crazy because the first Smash Bros was obviously Smash Bros and 64, and that was the first crossover because it was only Nintendo characters, but it was Mario, Link, Kirby, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Fox,
Daisy, Peach, Bowser.
Yeah, Bowser, yeah. And it was just like that basic crossover, but people loved it. But now what it was and what it is now is crazy, from this like little sort of, awesome little game that was on the N64, that was an awesome fighting game, to this behemoth that people are now betting who the next character to come out is.
It's crazy.
And it's amazing to see what these kind of crossovers like do. And if you like, Smash Bros is a crossover done right. Smash Bros is a crossover done right because they build the characters, and each character has their own fighting style, and it's balanced towards any other character. Because if you choose one character, then you're like, if you know the game, you can counteract with another character, but you can still beat that other character if you know the game well enough. For example, when I play Joker, he's fast, he's quite low, he does a lot of quick strikes, but he's not super powerful until he unlocks his persona, and then he's quite powerful. But if you got a character like maybe Ganondorf or Bowser, who's quite a tanky character, you'll be able to counteract Joker quite easy. And it's just done so right. Oh, so right. Oh, so beautiful.
The game is so funny in itself. Like, a Wii Fit trainer as an actual fighter, and I've seen people win as the Wii Fit trainer because they're so underestimated. And
it's balanced. It's a balanced game. You can use any character.
It's incredible. It's phenomenal. Death, have you ever played Smash Bros?
Nah, I played it once or twice. I was never any good at it, so I didn't play it.
Fair.
Also, I never really understood how you were supposed to kill people.
Button mash.
Like the percentage, like the percentage at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, does it go up or down?
So the percentage is basically the higher the percentage, the more likely you are to get knocked off the stage. So that's how it works. Because I played comp for a little bit. I was shit, but it was really fun. Because obviously these guys, they play like 12 hours a day and all that. But yeah, so it's the higher the percentage, the more chance you get to knock off, and pretty much it. And no items. I don't play with items because I like a level playing field. Because it's just like, I'm winning. Next thing, the guy gets a hammer and kills you in 3 shots. I'm like, what's this bullshit? It's a controller.
Right.
A bad tradesman blames his tools.
Oh, no jobs. No jobs in this scenario. No
Can't blame the tools when you don't use them.
Nailed it.
I'm trying to think of like any other massive crossovers like that came, that were quite well known. Like the only thing I can think of is like brand crossovers, like Halo and Mountain Dew, Call of Duty and
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew, yeah. Mountain Dew, not do this.
Mountain Dew just likes gaming, dude. They just know their market. MLG gamers.
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
DJ Horn is involved here.
Another big crossover, I guess crossover is a lot of like esports games as well. Those are quite big, as in you see a lot of crossover between other stuff. Like they had KDA song. It's like one of my most played songs, because I know it. KDA. Pop Stars, yeah. So the song Pop Stars made it into Beat Saber as one of the playable songs in the base game. So they did a crossover, because Beat Saber does a lot of crossovers with a lot of games, but more sort of, what's the word? Like Monster Cat as well, these other people. But it's cool to see these games sort of enter our sort of everyday lives, which is quite interesting way to go about it. Yeah, that's another, like, a lot of music games like to tailor to that as well.
It's interesting to see gaming and movies and TV shows genuinely enter normal society, I guess you could say. I think a big step for that was Marvel. I don't know why it was just Marvel, like just DC or something, but nerd culture really kind of kicked in or made it to mainstream everything when people, like, Batman's always been a thing.
Oh yeah.
For so many years, the Batman movies have always been done so well, but it kind of got kicked into high gear with the Iron Man movies, the Thor movies, the whole MCU kind of really went wow, and
like, hello, we're here to stay.
Yeah, people finally understood when I was like, on your left, and they were like, haha, and I was like, wait, you understood that? You got that reference? Like, I was so astounded, and people finally understood, like, a Stan Lee cameo. They understood what that meant. It was crazy.
That massive break into the mainstream, and well, going back to Batman, how many games has Batman had? He had so many since like the NES for so long, and you know, obviously being one of the greatest games, you know, the Arkham series, like Arkham City, Arkham Knight, they've always been really polished games, and now people see them more as games than movies nowadays. Some kids will go like, "Oh, that's the Batman game." Oh, yeah, I'm like, he's a movie character, right?
You know, he did things other than that.
You know, there's people that are older than us going, he's a comic book character, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what's a comic book?
Yeah, now they're called graphic novels.
What?
Yeah, a lot of people don't like the fact when you call them comic books and instead they're graphic novels.
They're comic books. They're
comic books. I got berated the other day for calling it a comic book instead of a graphic novel because comic book was too childish.
Berated.
What the hell? I'd rather be like, oh, it's a graphic novel. It's a comic book.
Bro, it's a fucking comic book. Sorry for the swearing. It's a comic book. Yeah. I read them, you read them, we read them. Anyway, like, it's a comic book. I get that you could call it a graphic novel, but it's a comic book. It's been a comic book for like nearly 100, whenever the first comic book came out. It's a comic book. You can try and like sophisticate it and say that it's a graphic novel. Go wild. Pop off, kid. It's a comic book.
It's weird because, if you want to call it a graphic novel, fine. You're wrong, but you're fine.
Yeah, call it whatever the hell you want. I'm going to call it a comic book. You're going to call it a graphic novel. Only one of us is going to look like a wanker.
Oh, it's a graphic novel.
I'm like, go get your monocle and your fedora. Like, it's one of those things where I think the younger generation is trying to sophisticate and reorganize the stuff that was nerdy or geeky in like our generation, and I'm like, nah, just let your freak flag fly. Like,
do it. Just let it.
Okay, so all right, here's one. Right, we've talked about things that were crossed or have been crossed over.
Yeah.
What about what's something that you've been into for a long time or whatever that you'd love to see made into a good game? Star Wars has been done, like things like that have been done, but like what's a certain part of your, fandom, things that you follow that you would love to see made into a video game?
I don't know, because a lot of the stuff I like comes from games and culture itself, and it's kind of hard to say because like there's not so much, but if I say something, I feel like there's a game behind it, but not a popular game, I guess. Like, because I was going to say, I would love a really good, proper Initial D game or a One Gun Midnight game, but there is a One Gun arcade machine and an Initial D arcade machine, which are flawless in my opinion. But I'll pass it over to you, Death, while I have a little bit of a ponder.
Same,
because I got to think. I really got to think about this, because if you start talking, then I'll be like, oh, I know.
Well, I mean, look, for me, it's got to be Stargate, SG-1. Atlantis universe.
Oh yeah.
The Stargate universe in general. I find it weird that everyone we all call things a universe now because of MCU.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, but that whole Stargate canon. There have been games made in the past with regard to that canon, but they haven't been very good, or albeit like being developed and then downright like cancelled the last minute and licenses pulled. And it's kind of sad really, because I remember 2005 I believe. It was they were going to bring out like a third person puzzle shooter, and it was developed by a company in Australia. So I was really keen for this. But then what happened was that it was sort of to coincide with season 8 of Stargate. And what happened was the developer had an argument with their publisher, which was Joe Wood was the publisher. I can't remember the developer's name, but they had an argument with them. And then because of that, MGM, who owns the rights to Stargate at the moment, pulled the rights to the video game, right? And they'd already made assets and a story, and there was a trailer and everything. And I can show you the trailer afterwards. But it was supposed to come out on like PS2, PC, Xbox original. That was the sort of generation it was coming out on. It was called Stargate The Alliance, and like introduced a whole new enemy and all this kind of thing. And like honestly, I was so hyped for it. Back in those days, I was like, what, 2005? I think I was like 14 or 15. Yeah.
Like,
and so, you know, I was so hyped for this because, you know, I was a massive Stargate fan. The show was still running on TV. So like, you know, it's you know, for those of you who aren't 30, it's, you know, when you had to wait every week to see a TV show come out. I guess Netflix do it now.
I did that. I waited every week to watch a good game.
You're still a baby. Don't lie to me.
I waited every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock to watch Good Game, all right? I know what it's like, okay? I had to wait every week. It was the best half an hour of my week.
All right. Well, I'll forward that little excerpt to Barjo.
Do you remember? Do you remember the day where you actually had to wait for TV shows and stuff like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't pirate them because we didn't actually have PCs good or like shitty enough to.
No, you just couldn't. You just couldn't trust LimeWire.
LimeWire.
You could not.
You couldn't trust LimeWire. For every
Actually,
one good
hold
link, there was
on.
about 15 bad links.
You could trust LimeWire with giving your PC absolute trash viruses and everything.
LimeWire was so flawed, right? That LimeWire had a pro version, LimeWire Pro, which was like $9.99 or whatever, but you could download LimeWire Pro with LimeWire. That's how flawed the system was.
That's so good.
That's how flawed the system was.
You're probably too young to remember Napster, Dre.
I know Napster. I didn't use Napster.
You know of Napster. You didn't use
I know
Napster.
Napster. I said I use LimeWire and uTorrent.
uTorrent, Pirate Bay.
Pirate Bay.
Don't
Pirate
condone
Bay.
anything.
Pirate Bay with uTorrent, in conjunction with uTorrent.
Yeah.
The Modern Origin cast does not condone any Pirate Bay usage.
We only condone acts of piracy on the high seas.
On the high seas of Sea of Thieves.
Don't worry, I'll edit this out.
No, I don't think I'm going to do that.
But no, that actually sounds like a really cool idea, Death.
Yeah. And
Stargate.
I like, so I've recently restarted watching the whole franchise again, because I do it at least every couple of years, because, you know, I sort of miss the show. And there's been a bit of news recently about a fourth Stargate series coming back with Amazon purchasing MGM.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah. So like there's been the news that Amazon's purchasing MGM. And with that, because episodes of Stargate were relatively cheap to make, I think it's about $20 million an episode. Was it $20 million an episode or a season? I think it might have been a season actually. It was 20 million a season.
20 million an episode,
right?
Sounds.
But when you think about
it,
in comparison, right? Like an episode of The Boys, right, which is one of Amazon's, you know, current shows. I think that cost about 25 million an episode, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Disgusting, dude.
Right.
Well, they make
So,
a massive
and like episodes like shows like Game of Thrones, they had like super high budgets, right? So
CGI and dragons. Okay. Dragons.
I mean, that stuff isn't cheap, like CGI and all that kind of stuff. But like, I mean, Stargate had CGI and things like that in it. Granted, it wasn't like, you know, the CGI of Game of Thrones, but like, you know, it's one of those things where it's a really cheap show. And if Amazon buys MGM, then I feel like we may have another Stargate show. And I'd be really keen for it, like something set in the current canon in, you know, this time frame. You know, it'd be really good to see, you know, another Stargate program. But I think with conjunction to that, like a game would be really good if it was like a third person puzzle shooter, open world. And as much as they've let me down in the last few years, Ubisoft would probably be the best the best publisher to produce something like that.
Well,
Really cool.
$2.2 million per episode by the end of season 10 was Stargate SSG-1. I'm not a Stargater, a Starry Gate. I don't know what you call yourselves, you fans.
I don't even know what we
There
call
was no such
ourselves.
thing as fandoms back then. There was no such thing as fandoms. It was just fans.
Yeah, the fans. But I think it's one of those things where, yes, Game of Thrones cost $20 million, but they definitely saw the return. Like they saw the return on their investment threefold. Like it was very easy to see that. Going off your idea of a game, I am the biggest champion, fan, nerd, geek, praiser of The Inheritance Cycle, written by Christopher Paolini. And yes, they did a shocking job of the movie. But look, it was a movie. It was a movie and it had a dragon in it. It actually had 2 dragons in it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Either.
You don't know what it is?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Aragon?
Oh! I know Aragon. Yes.
Aragon. Literally, I think this is like the scourge of nerd culture. It is the book.
Movie. The most forgettable movie.
So, there have been 4 books written in the Inheritance Cycle, and then there is an additional sequel. Ta-da! I need to re-get that book. We don't talk about it. It's got a bad cover. But yeah, so the movie was created. I think there is an Aragon game out there. I can't be too sure. I don't want to say yes or no, but I wish they did a game like where you were a dragon rider or something, because by the end of the 4th book, spoilers if you haven't read the books, they're actually incredible. The books are so good. I read them at least twice a year. They're thick boys. They're chunky. They got a little junk in their trunk. And they have the most juicy stories. The first book includes so many different characters that the movie just left. The movie was like, bye. Like, the movie got rid of them. So I wish that you could kind of think Dragon Age, where you could switch between the characters and switch between the storylines. That would be really cool to me.
Ooh, that sounds like a fun mechanic.
Right?
Well, that's like, as someone who does have like the only idea of the Aragon is just the movie. That's all I know of this series. It would be a good way to get people into the series.
Yeah. So I wish you could play as Aragon, as Aragon's cousin, as the leader of the Varden, as Arya, who's the daughter of the Elf Queen. Like, playing as these different characters and having the different views of the storylines, and kind of think the Witcher storylines, where what you do in the game does actually affect the outcome, would be absolutely incredible.
Ooh, that would be really interesting. So if you say like CD Projekt Ray got a hold of the rights, they think like that might be because they've had experience with Witcher 3.
Yeah.
And, that would be a pretty good game company. Even though Cyberpunk wasn't the greatest launch, even though I love Cyberpunk. Fight me on my Discord.
See, I love Witcher 3. I'm highly... The other day I wrote friend and it autocorrected to Gwent. So...
Your phone knows you better than yourself.
I don't need friends. I just need to play a card game for 3,000 more hours, apparently.
Every fan, alright.
I think CD Projekt Red might actually do really well with this. If we gave them the rights to make an Aragon game where you actually do play the different perspectives of the several characters in the Inheritance Cycle, as like the leader of the Varden, as Aragon, as Arya, as all these different characters, and what you actually do does affect the outcome. And of course you can fly a freaking dragon. Come on. I think that would be incredible.
That sounds really like, that would be a game I'd get behind, because if you could have this kind of open world experience as flying as these different dragons and everything, that'd be that'd be insane. And going off what you were talking about, it kind of let me think of something like an open world game, a crossover. I was thinking that I am a massive fan of the Cowboy Bebop series. I am a huge fan.
Yeehaw?
Yeehaw. Yes. The famous 1996 anime of the same nature. I think it's 98, 96. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry. But
I'm going to believe you.
I trust, yeah.
There you go. Tatted on his arm. There we go. See, the whole idea of Cowboy Bebop is that you're a pretty much a space bounty hunter. You get to Mandalorian.
I wasn't gonna say
Look,
anything.
Cowboy Bebop did it first. Like a ragtag kind of like kind of misfit sort of situation. So you got Spike, who's this sort of like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan sort of martial artist. Like he flows like water, but he's super cool and chill about everything. But then there's like a darker story behind it, and then each character has like it's a really amazing show. I fell in love with it, and it's pretty basic, but I love it. But I was thinking the whole space mercenary thing, or the space like cowboy aesthetic. I would love to see something like if Cowboy Bebop out of their own game, which it was something like a smaller version of No Man's Sky, where you could fly the Bebop between different planets, but
Ooh.
you would have bounties on different planets, and the ranking would be different, sort of like Division 2, where you get your higher levels and your lower level sort of enemies, and the higher the level, the higher the reward. And then you could upgrade your ship, you could upgrade your character, you could get better weapons, and there's other little side missions as well. Because the Cowboy Bebop universe is so massive, they only did like one season of Cowboy Bebop. I think there's like maybe 26 episodes or like 30 episodes.
Damn.
And
Yeah.
there's like one movie, and they did do a game, but it was like a Japanese release back on the PS2. But having this amazing open-ended universe, but they put so much thought into, even down to like, the aesthetic of each planet and, the different types of people, because it's not really aliens. It's more that the human race has expanded outside Earth, and Earth has been kind of lost and forgotten. Now, I think you do go to Earth at one point in the show, but it's kind of decrepit and gone down, and it shows all these different aspects. And seeing this sort of series or this like show made into this open world sort of like a loot shooter, but more like a more risk versus reward sort of situation, where you jump you report to you report to like your Bebop to get the Wulongs as the currencies in game, sort of like Sea of Thieves, where you just kind of plopped in and you go out and do stuff, but in a Cowboy Bebop aesthetic.
Would it be like a bit like Warframe as well? So that you do have your like your quest line and your stories and everything, but you also can go back and do missions and grind out rewards and get everything as well?
Yeah, so and it would kind of be like that, where you would also drop in and you would need to maintain your ship as well, because during the show, one of the main sort of plot lines is that they're always out of money. They don't have a lot. They live on the Bebop. They're getting these they're getting these contracts to kind of get by. And if you don't have enough money, then you don't have enough to maintain your ship or fly to certain planets or get enough gear to go to another planet maybe or something.
Okay.
So it sort of gives you like resource management as well. So if you were to jump into like, oh, I need to go, like, do I risk getting this higher this higher contract, but I'm not a higher level and I could lose a lot of gear? Or do I just go for the little boys and then kind of build up a bit of money to maintain the ship? But it's full open world, so you could, fly to a planet. It wouldn't be so open world like what is it, like No Man's Sky. You would just you can fly around and land on a planet, but then it's like a mini open world scenario. But it's still that open world aesthetic, kind of like a Destiny, where you go to a different planet, but there's an open world part to it.
Okay, cool.
I would give my fucking kidney. Sorry for the swearing. My kidney for a game like that, because I'm loving the Division. I love Destiny, like the whole open world sort of raider loot shooter sort of thing. I'm doing Division 2. I love the whole I love Cyberpunk. I love No Man's Sky. That sort of cyberpunk aesthetic. The sort of new and old comes together.
It's like picking and choosing. It's take like Build a Bitch from Bella Porch, or whatever her name is. You're like picking the best parts of all the video games you love, mixing it in with a storyline from your favorite book or TV show or movie, and going, that's the game I want. That's what I want.
Just think about it. If Cowboy Bebop is this, it's set in like, the future where the human race has expanded out, then, it's a perfect way to encapsulate that in a game where it's like, okay, you're Spike, or you're like a generic character, and then you go out and you you go have to get bounties, and you don't just get rewarded. It's you needed to survive in this game. You needed to live in this game.
Yeah.
So you have to cherry pick, but that's what I'd say.
Yeah.
It's just like funny because like we're all cherry picking what we want out of the best parts of video games that we've played for the fandom that we all sort of want to see made into a game, and then publishers just be like, no.
That's 100% how it would be. Quality of life updates? What the fuck are those? Bye bye.
Nope, not gonna happen. Not gonna
So
happen.
the hard part about it is, right, is because like those fandoms are all pretty niche. You know what I mean? It's like the accessibility for people that aren't into it would be probably something that a business would take into perspective. Like,
yeah, and
don't get me wrong, I'd love to see a Stargate game, but I just don't see like the people that would probably buy that game is probably in the thousands, not hundreds of thousands or millions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, see, that's kind of sad though.
Yeah.
And well, that's kind of how the cookie crumbles, because Stargate and Star Trek aren't as big as Star Wars. It's genuinely just how it is. That's kind of the same issue with Aragon. Because the movie flopped, the fans are gone. But you think of things like Game of Thrones, you think of things like Skyrim, you can probably yoink some fans, just go, oh, I'll just cherry pick them.
They like
and
that sort of aesthetic, or they like that sort of style.
Yeah, and then you also have the other expectation to live up to, going, Skyrim was released in 2011. This game has to be fucking phenomenal, right? And then you have Game of Thrones was released in I think it was also 2011. I think that was the
No,
I think it was 2012, 2011 was the first season of Game of Thrones. Hold up. Game of Thrones season. I think it was 2011 or 2012.
Not to think about.
2011. Let's go.
It's 10 years old. That's scary.
Anyway,
that's scary.
That's terrifying. So yeah, it's one of those things where you could theoretically take fans from both of these huge gaming and TV show enterprises and condense them down and be like, look, we made this really cool game. Do you like it? And you have to be able to...
The fans. No.
Yeah.
No, it's not Skyrim.
Pretty much. But the thing is, like, I played the Dragon Age series after I played Skyrim. And I love the Dragon Age series. And I'm highly in love with several people, including myself. But Skyrim's always going to be my number one. Witcher comes in at a close second, purely because I love Geralt and Gwent. I've got issues. And
Gwent Addictions Anonymous, please. Can we get the phone number?
Hello. But
they answer the phone, they're like, oh, you again.
Yes, Divine. Yes, we understand. Did you get the Gwent? Did you get a Gwent again? All right.
Yeah.
Coming over.
Yeah.
Don't hide anything like you did last time.
It's one of those things where, for me, Skyrim is it. Like, I don't think I can find another game that has had that impact on me ever. And if I do ever find that game, I'm gonna count myself so freaking lucky.
Count your stars.
Count me stars. Count me lucky coins in me purse. But if I can't find a game like that, my brain kind of goes, why don't you just make one? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a shit person. Like I don't have any qualifications to make a game.
Making a game is
so
it's another world. It's another world.
This is how far I got when I was thinking about making it like the Stargate game, right?
All right, yeah.
All right. Tell us.
Downloaded Unity. Right?
Oh, you got Unity.
Right. I downloaded Unity. Had to like use the boilerplate FPS like setup. Right. Tried to add a room. Uninstalled Unity. I was like, this is gonna be sick. And I'm gonna make like, like a thing, and then gone. Making video games is hard, right?
It is.
You know what? Unreal. Unreal is so much more user friendly, man.
The amount of people that complain about like video games and bugs and things like that. You make a video game. Yeah.
I have. It's fucking hard. That's why I used Unreal. We had the choice of Unity and Unreal. I used Unity. I chucked it aside. I hated it. Unreal, you can make a fucking game in that shit. And yeah, it's just. I know your pain. I know your pain.
Yeah.
It's fucking rough.
And you know what? It's mostly people on like, say, like Twitter and stuff. They're like, "Oh, fix your bugs and your servers are bad and da 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 da." It's like, dude, you make and run a game that's a live thing that's, you know, being updated all the time. It's like, you know how hard it is. Like,
Yeah.
This is my thing. I'm gonna go on the Twitter side of people and say, if you're a fully established gaming development company with several developers working on the team. Oh, Dray, you good? You T-posing at me?
I 100% agree.
If you have made the game before, if you say you're going to release a fully fledged game which you think is perfect, cough Cyberpunk, I'm 100% gonna call it the fuck out. Release the game. If you say the game's shit, don't release it. Cyberpunk was like, oh my god, the game's gonna be fucking fantastic. They were supposed to release it. I want to do like a whole thing on the Cyberpunk because my heart breaks for the developers. My heart breaks for the people that bought it. The fact they had to mine does.
Mine doesn't break for the people that bought it on an old gen console.
Mine breaks for the people that got it on pre-order.
I brought it.
Because it's one of those things where you buy a product, you expect this, and you don't get it, and they delete it. That's fine. That's cool. Either A, get a refund and don't expect the pre-order, or B, don't whine about it.
Yeah, look, in this scenario, I'm like split as well, because there are some things I believe I'm defending the developers for, and there are also reasons I'm defending the crowd for as well. Like CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk, it was such a messy sort of situation that, you know, there are some things, as I said, like I will defend the developers. I say it wholeheartedly because I do believe that, you know, they did have some good, but there are some things which I disagree with as well. Like for me, I enjoyed the game. I loved the game. I believe what they had was something great, and they were blocks in the path. You know, they did have a lot of roadblocks to get through, but it's really weird because when I bought the game and I downloaded the game and I pre-ordered the game, I never had a single issue with the game. My experience was flawless. But in saying that, I have a $4,000 PC. I have a top of the line graphics card. I have a top of the line CPU. I have the whole kit and caboodle that can run the game flawlessly. And if you're gonna release a game that's gonna run flawlessly on something that on a product that of 2020 that's ridiculously expensive, no way is it gonna run on something from 2013, like a PS4 or an Xbox One.
And they guaranteed it would work on a PlayStation. That's the thing. They're like, we got the CD Projekt Red guarantee. I'm like,
I mean, it worked. It just didn't work well.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I believe that when they said, you know, it was gonna work, they had a working copy on that console, but then they wanted to add stuff because they have to make it for modern consoles and modern PCs and that those older consoles as well.
Or maybe they just went out and bought a PlayStation 4 straight off the shelf just to test it. They hadn't had one running in their house for the past 5 years.
Well, not only that, a lot of companies will have every console available to them to test on that console. It's like what happened with No Man's Sky. That whole situation. That was pretty intense, but I believe that they should have held the game. Like, as much as I wanted to get it on release date, they should have held the game or offered a refund to everyone who bought it on last gen. And I understand because they advertised it on last gen. I get it. But I believe COVID was a factor.
100%.
And the scope was way too big. Because think about it, the Cyberpunk game, as in like the D&D game or the campaign, it's massive. It's a big game. And they have so many expansions as well. So trying to fit all that into a game, I can commend them for. And look, at the end of the day, as a game, as a story-wise and an experience, I think Cyberpunk is a fun experience. I think what they've done, story-wise, they've created an immersing world that I can jump into and easily lose myself. The AI can be a bit iffy, you know, the bugs, yes, I can forgive that. Like, look at a lot of Fallout games. Look at 76, for example. Look at 76 and how many bugs they had. And all went through.
But if you're releasing a game, it's kind of like Skyrim. Like, yeah, okay, there are bugs, we get it, but if you're releasing a game, how many bugs is 2 bugs? You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't you get a game that works?
Yeah, like I look, if it's game crashing, I don't forgive that. Like, I get it, work on it, fix it, apologize. But if it's little bugs like, I don't know, like graphical bugs, I can forgive that because that's easy in patch. But if game breaking bugs and bugs that can like wipe your hard drive, no, or crash a console, I that's not forgivable. That's
what was the game that was bricking people's PlayStations and stuff? I feel like there was a game recently that was like,
was it?
Actually, you know what? The New World beta was bricking people's graphics cards if you had a 3090.
Yep.
You know
no,
what I mean?
It was 76. It was 76 that was bricking consoles.
Was it?
I think it was 76, or it was No Man's Sky original release.
Oh yeah.
It was. And,
I do remember a text from my neighbor regarding Cyberpunk and Bitwit. So if you guys don't know who Bitwit is, he's a YouTuber. And hang on, where is it? I'm actually gonna get the text right now. It was probably one of these things where you're only going to get it once in a lifetime, but it's something that's stuck with me. He was like, lol, Bitwit played Cyberpunk for 3 hours and his PC just crashed. Can I get a F in chat? And I was like, that's not good. But in saying that, yeah, every game that I've ever played on my PlayStation, it has made that console sound like a jet engine.
That's always been the case.
Yeah, it kind of didn't surprise me that like even running GTA, that crashes my PlayStation, which isn't a good thing, I'm not gonna lie. But there are games that do crash my PlayStation, and I'm kind of not surprised Cyberpunk would be one of them. I haven't bought Cyberpunk. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm a migraine sufferer. What up? I get really fun ones where my migraines mimic the symptoms of a stroke. So that's wild.
Oh, that's
yeah. So at the beginning when Cyberpunk was released, there was a couple of news articles going around, and this was even before Cyberpunk was released. There were intense warnings of flashing because you have like this scope thing that you put up and down and you don't have control over it. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to watch gameplay of this. I went into one of my mates' channels who was streaming it and kind of had to leave 5 minutes after because I started feeling sick, and I got a migraine from watching someone else's stream.
Yeah, it's quite a lot because there's a lot of like
a lot of flashing lights and things like that in it.
Yeah, and you can't turn that off in the settings because it's actually a part of the game.
They dialed it down though.
I think you can now, actually, last time, because you can actually turn off, because part of the game is that you have glitches due to plot, and the whole world goes all glitchy and fucked and all that. But they actually put in an option to turn that off now, which is I like. But yeah, in saying that, I respect the developers for working under the conditions they had. Like they worked their asses off. They had everything thrown at them, and they worked and worked and worked. But some of the direction from the company, I won't agree with. Say releasing it unfinished, the way they went about it, it's not the greatest. And they should really have thought about it before actually properly releasing it. But at the same time, the fans were also like, release now. Oh shit! Why?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think they suffered from their own marketing, which like it begs a bigger question of AAA gaming in like this day and age now. Is like, because obviously marketing budgets, I think they spent $175 million on marketing.
Jesus.
Right. Which is, an astronomical number, but like, it didn't matter where I looked, whether it was YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TV, doesn't matter where I looked. Like, even walking past a bus stop or somewhere in the shopping center,
bus stops had advertisements for Cyberpunk.
You would see Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk.
And you got to remember, so much of that, not the marketing budget, well, actually, probably some of it went towards Keanu Reeves, because he did press conferences and interviews, and I don't know how much his John Wick's money is, but yeah. And this game was announced in 2011, 2012 or something?
Yeah, it was like 8 years of development or something like that. I think it was in
Yeah.
development for 8 years. But you know, it begs the question, like, is that the way AAA gaming is going to go in the future? It's like where they spend, you know, massive marketing budgets and then get everyone hyped for a game only to disappoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The Ponder replay really kind of screwed them. I'm not gonna lie, a big factor. But just I'm one of those people that just says, just put it off. It's fine. Like if people keep expecting a delay, that's fine. As long as you put out a game that is competent and you're happy with it and that actually runs, good. Do it. Keep disappointing people. That's fine. I'm probably used to it by now. Don't put something out that you're gonna get thanks, Dray. That you're gonna get more roasted for rather than another delay.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I don't think anyone wants to be the next meme. Pretty much, like New World, right? They released their beta, everyone played it, and they, you know, enjoyed it for the most part. There are a few things that I looked at it and thought, you know what, it could be boring in the long run. Not to mention, you know, obviously the graphics card issues with the 3090s and the uncapped frame rate in the splash screen, which was essentially just burning out 3090s.
I would have a heart attack.
Rip 4K graphics card.
I would have a heart attack.
Like, oh yeah, no worries. I just bought, like, you know, what is it, like a $4,500 graphics card or something like that?
Yeah.
Rip. Like,
you know what? That got released and went 10 days ago, and there is not one single person in my Twitch list that I'm looking at right now that is playing the New World beta. That had such a the full game got released.
Closed. It hasn't been released.
Well, I'd be scared.
You can't play the beta.
3090, and it was had a risk of killing my card. I wouldn't even step near the fucking website. Sorry for this.
Oh,
I mean, look, the first people it happened to that we know of was streamers, of course, but I imagine there's probably people that it was mostly EVGA cards, so I think it was something to do with EVGA and there's safety protocols that have been embedded in the card. But New World's been pushed back to September. It was supposed to come out at the start of the end of August, but it's been pushed back to the end of September for them to fine tune it.
Good.
Which, like, you know what, like where they're up to with the game at the moment, I was impressed with. It's definitely something that's probably going to pry me away from Tarkov for the most part. You know, I'd be a New World MMO streamer by the end of September.
It's a lot to go off because a lot of games nowadays are becoming more and more like demanding. Like they're almost becoming blockbusters in of itself, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot of graphical power. There's a lot of power that needs to go into these games. So
well, I mean, that's why the PS5 and the Xbox One were such chunky consoles, I guess, compared to their lesser counterparts. Because
I mean, they're bigger. They're big as a console, but like they're small as a PC.
Oh, 100%. PC is going to out. This is why I believe crossplay should never be a thing between PC and other consoles, unless you're playing a game like Rocket League or something. Rocket League, you're better off as a console. But it's PC is always going to win, no matter what. It's
I don't like. I'll be honest. Might I challenge you on that thought?
Oh yeah, I'll win.
Okay, I believe in crossplay. Look. I said I believe in crossplay for a different reason because I like playing with all my friends, and then I hate the things like, oh, I have an Xbox, I have a PlayStation. Oh shit, we can't play. I have to buy the other console, and that's why I like the Game Pass so much because a lot of my friends haven't. Like my friend Izzy, he has an Xbox. I have a PC, but we can play Sea of Thieves together, and that's an epic adventure.
I agree with it on that front, but my issue is specifically with FPS games, a little bit of Sea of Thieves. If I am playing Call of Duty or anything that is crossplay, the server 100% of the time is hosted on PC. You're going to get better ping, less lag, everything on your PC rather than a console. Same with Sea of Thieves. The servers are hosted on PC. If I'm flying a Reaper banner, my PvP is I have to be on a PC. There is no way that an Xbox is going to outmatch a PC on Sea of Thieves.
Guaranteed. Like, look, in those scenarios, like I believe PC should be like the main sort of source, but and consoles should join PC because they have the
even
power.
Now with consoles getting to like 120 frames, you know what I mean? I'm playing at 244. Like, you know what I mean?
It's already outdated. Like consoles are like, don't get me wrong, I like consoles, but
they're still outdated.
PCs are always like going and updating. The only way to get consoles to at least have some sort of inch against PCs is if you had upgradable consoles, and that's what they're doing, and that's what they're currently doing. And at that point, you just buy a PC.
100%.
When anyone asks me, like a parent or like a younger kid or something, it's like, oh, what do you, it's like I want to get this for Christmas. What do you get? I said, just buy a PC.
Yep.
It'll cost you a bit more. Even parents, because parents ask me, like, family go, oh, so I want to buy my son a game console. What should I buy? I said, it's a little bit more money. Buy a PC. It's better bang for your buck because you're buying something that's going to last you a lot longer. A console will go out of date pretty quickly, and a lot of the games are becoming cross-platform. So if they just want to play Fortnite, buy like $1,000 or $1.5 grand PC, and they
I don't know, man. Like, suggesting that stuff to like parents is one thing, but like, there's obviously a lot more to take into account.
Oh yeah, but if they're like, if they're kind of like, I give them the option, like, oh hi, if you want to spend that money, I guarantee a PC, it'll like in the long run. But if not, just buy them a console. And some console, like if a parent says they want to buy the kid a PS5, if you're gonna spend that money on a PS5, just get like a $1.5 grand PC. Just spend that little bit extra and get a PC because it's way more games. They can do way more for it, and you can upgrade it down the path.
See, this is where I'm on both sides of the trajectory. I used to be a nanny up until about a year ago for a family. They just when the PS5 released, and the Xbox Series X or whatever number letter they're up to now. The kids 2 weeks before Christmas got a new Xbox, was already broken a week after. They had the kind of like, I'll buy your love deal. Like that's what the parents would do because they wouldn't spend time with the kids. But I do believe in what you're saying, Dray. Although I wouldn't buy a PC straight out. I would give the kid like a book saying, this is what a CPU is. This is what a GPU is. If you're going to get a console or a PC, start learning because they need to be able, it's like having a pet almost. That's how I learned how to like build my PC or what parts were in a PlayStation. Like I've taken apart PlayStations. I took apart my old PC. I know what the parts are. I know what to fix. I know if something goes wrong, I can kind of figure out what it is. And if not, I'm going to cry in a corner somewhere. Like, yes, it'll be a bit more expensive. I feel that.
Cool though. Like if I bought like if a 13-year-old like is like, oh please can I have a PC, and say like sure. But I'd be like, you break it, that's it. So you look after that thing. I'm very like, even a PlayStation's like, you're getting this. It's expensive. If this breaks, you're not getting another one. You know that, right? And they go, yeah. And then they break and they go, oh, it's broken. Oh, well.
I actually lost. Yeah, I lost a regular to my Twitch channel because he was like, I want to buy the new PlayStation. I want to buy the new Xbox. I want to buy both of them. And I said, okay, but you also mentioned that you want a PC to stream from. And he was like, yeah, that's something I want down the track. And I said, well, if you think about it, the cost of both an Xbox and a PlayStation 5, like the new ones, you could literally put that money aside, build your own PC for the same amount of money and get better graphics and everything. You could buy yourself the Xbox Game Pass and then get yourself a PlayStation later on down the track, and you wouldn't have that issue. You'd have a stream PC, you'd have all this jazz, and you would actually learn how to build and fix your own computer. And he goes, oh, you're just calling out the fact I'm poor and I don't know things. And he left. And I've never heard from him again.
You want to buy an Xbox and a PlayStation? You can get a PC for less.
Yep. That's 100. I lost a regular because of that. And I was like, I've never had a more confounding situation in my life.
That's kind of funny though. That like look, legit, that's kind of funny. Like, if you're gonna do that,
yeah,
then go buy it, see what happens. Then you'll have to you'll buy an Xbox, PlayStation, and then what are you gonna stream it from? You want all these cool graphics and you want to do all this cool stuff. Yes, you can use something like Lightstream, but you're only limited by so far.
Yeah.
So
it was one of those things where I was like, teach yourself how to build a PC. It is cheaper than both an Xbox and a PlayStation together because you wanted the disc versions. And I was like,
I just rather than buy the rare copies that are on disc.
Yeah, I was like, dude,
I get collecting physical media. Like I have a whole bunch of old consoles in my wardrobe. I love I love collecting. I love game culture in general. Like I will buy games just to own them. But my main source, see that PlayStation over there? See that little PlayStation over there? It's collecting dust. Like I use that PlayStation for Persona and Final Fantasy. That's it. Yeah.
Damn. Look at your dust collectors.
I have a
When was the last
PS1 and a PS2. They're just there.
Yeah.
When was the last time you guys turned them on?
I don't know.
Not in that way, but like in the on button way.
1997. I don't know.
I haven't touched my PlayStation in a long time because the rare times I will use it, it's a Blu-ray player for when I want to watch like Blu-rays. It's if I want to play Persona, because Persona 5 is only on PlayStation.
PlayStation. That's why I think PlayStation's the superior console.
Yeah, exactly. Like I
Exclusives.
personally like I Ratchet and Clank, Final Fantasy, Persona mainly, a lot of Japanese titles. That's why Horizon Zero Dawn, they're all fantastic for PlayStation. For Xbox, just get Game Pass.
Exactly. All the Halo series, and then with the Bethesda buyout recently, there is literally no reason for you to have an Xbox anymore.
Also, EA Play. You get EA Play with Game Pass.
Yep.
And if you like, I like a controller experience. All right, set up
Plug it in.
TV, plugging. I have an Xbox controller for my PC. Like, and
I have an Elite Series 2 controller for my PC. Like, it's overkill.
I got both. I got both. If I'm feeling lucky, I'll play PlayStation. I got both.
Yeah, I'm a PlayStation person. My family has always been PlayStation people. We had an Xbox once, and it lasted about 3 months in the household before we traded it in for a PlayStation. PlayStation has always been the superior console purely because of exclusives, because the PlayStation 3 did and still does have free multiplayer on all of their Call of Duty and online games. Game Pass just kind of cucked Microsoft, I'm not going to lie. And Horizon selling out to Steam, that was money.
I think as much as I don't think it cut them hard because Game Pass enabled more people when they had crossplay or you could play on both. I think that enabled more people to get Xbox Game Pass, because think about it, console launches or console releases, it's a one-off for Xbox. Game Pass, that's a constant influx of money.
Oh yeah. So I think it cucked their console sales for PC gamers. Sorry. Yeah, if that makes sense to you. Yeah. So I'm never going to buy an Xbox now.
The thing is, right, they don't make money on consoles.
No, they don't.
It's a known fact that Xbox, like Microsoft for that matter, don't make money on the consoles. They're like the margin. No, the margin on a console is like razor thin. Like the amount of tech versus how much they're selling them for, the margin's razor thin. What they make money on is peripherals and games and Game Pass, and that's what they need to get you in the door. And once they've got you in the door, then they start throwing you all these extra things. And that's,
because you have to have Game Pass to play online on Xbox.
Well, you can go straight to, you can get Xbox Live Gold still. It's still available.
That's where they make the money as well.
But like
so
they basically say to you, hey, you've got gold, but you know, we can upgrade you to Game Pass for $1 for the next 8 months. Right? And then you've done it for 8 months now and you're in. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, now it's like $16.
It's like Netflix.
But like
Netflix for games.
So you can subscribe for the $80 a year or whatever it is, it might be for Live Gold. You'll constantly get sort of the advertisement for the Game Pass, which is, you know, it is what it is. And that's how it worked with me. I had an Xbox Live Gold subscription for like about 8 months left, and they're like, hey, because of how much you've got left, we can give you this much Game Pass for the next, I don't know, 6 months, right? And so I was like, oh, well, you know, I get Live Gold and I get free games. So like, I'll check it out.
It's the deal. Yeah. So
and then
it's too good to be true.
There I was.
Amazing.
I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm doing this now. Like, and you know what? Like now I don't have an Xbox anymore. I don't have like in this house right now, there's like literally my PC and a Nintendo Switch, which my daughter plays. You know, my sister's got a PS5. She really enjoys it, but like for me, it's like I do all my gaming on PC now. And yeah, it's just I spend the money.
That's where it really is, because as I said, the last Xbox console was a 360, and I loved it, and I will appreciate. But nowadays, because PCs are so powerful and consoles are becoming PCs, at that point, I feel like there'll be a time where consoles will phase out, or Xbox will at least phase out, because I made a decision a long time ago. I was either a PS5 or a graphics card. I went with the graphics card, because as much as I grew up on PlayStation was my first console. I love PlayStation. Gran Turismo, Tomb Raider, Ratchet and Clank, all the amazing titles. And for PS5, I wanted Ratchet and Clank. I wanted what else was there I wanted on that console? I think the new Gran Turismo looks amazing.
The new Horizon Dawn is only coming out on PlayStation 5. They're not gonna back change it to PlayStation 4 yet.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
I mean, look, for me, I hope they won't. If they've developed it for PS5 and it's too strong to go on a PS4, I would say just don't.
Yeah. It's kind of like when Horizon Zero Dawn went to PC. Because I played HDZ on PlayStation, it's beautiful on PlayStation. It is gorgeous. It is like golden honey dripping from a hive. But then watching gameplay on a PC, it's kind of like that fake artificial honey, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's still good, it's still a beautiful game, don't get me wrong, but you can tell the mouths move wrong. And I pick up on little things, like when you're at the top of a tall neck, which is a kind of like, it's a thing, it just looks wrong. Something's off, and you can tell that.
Those things happen with ports though.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't look as good. Like, I get nostalgia for the game, and I want to go play it again on my PlayStation, but never do I want to play it on a PC.
I feel like if you want to be a console in the modern day, you gotta have a gimmick that sticks, and you gotta have a gimmick that people will want to buy. So, for example, I believe the future will be nothing but pure PC gaming. I feel like they will phase out modern consoles.
I don't think so.
But I think they will keep Nintendo consoles because Nintendo is a very niche audience and it works well. Home party sort of style. They will, you can sit down, play stuff like Smash Bros, Mario Kart, all those sort of games, and still have a great gaming experience. But I feel like they will turn consoles into mini PCs that you can still.
Oh mate, I feel like they're already there. But like the thing about it is, right, the console fits a market that's. I mean, look, we're all pretty hardcore gamers. Like, we're all in a lockdown right now, but we don't care because we just get to sit in front of a PC and play games all day, right? But like, the console fits a different niche to us. You know what I mean? We're essentially power users, and that's not what consoles are made for. They're made for like casuals. Like for lack of a better term, it's like people who want to chill out at the end of a workday and like play their console for like an hour or two. And then, go to bed or whatever. Or like, young kids who you don't really want to trust them with a, $2,500 PC. So you get them a $400 console. It's a different sort of market. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I knew a bloke who only had an Xbox to play FIFA when he got home from work. And I was like, do you have any other games? Do you play anything else? And he was like, nope. Just FIFA.
What's a Fallout?
Yeah. I'm like, I can show you games.
He's
Shining, shimmering Game Pass.
And then he's like, no, FIFA.
He literally has like 2,000 hours in FIFA, and I'm like, games.
I don't know, but I feel like if it was still to continue with console, I don't think they would really bother with speccing it out at that point, because think about it. If the casual consumer just wants it for FIFA or Forza, what would be the point of putting in the highest end spec for something that? Because think about it. If someone's gonna pay, people don't want to pay like $750 or $800 for something they're going to use as like a DVD player or like for one game.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still power users on consoles, right? There's still people that like play religiously. I was one of them. Between 15 to 21, like I was playing, a shit ton of Skyrim and like, playing a shit ton of FIFA, Call of Duty. Like I was playing games all the time, right? But like, there's still power users on console. But like the thing about it is the accessibility. Someone who buys a gaming PC has already been like a gamer, right? Or like, they're typically already, well into gaming, right? They've, a lot of people graduate from console to PC. You know what I mean? They get into gaming on console, and it's got a lower barrier for entry. You know what I mean? Because if you can buy a pre-built gaming PC, sure, but like more often than not, people will build their own PC.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is like for a console, it's a self-contained unit. It's plug and play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, the barrier to enter is a lot lower with console. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're 5, or it doesn't matter if you're 10 or 15 or 70 for that matter. You know what I mean? You can get a console, plug it in, and start playing. There's extra steps with PC.
Retrospect, that makes a lot more sense. Like, it's just a plug and play. Because I'm thinking of like the gamer perspective, what it was 10 years ago, where if you had a 360 or a PS3, you were primarily playing a lot of games. And if you had a gaming PC 10 years ago, you were really into PCs.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, a lot of gamers, a lot of people who play games, they're primarily now going to PC because parts are accessible. Well, except for a certain graphics card. It's a lot of people going to PC. A lot of people are streaming nowadays. They see the benefits of getting a PC, and I can see that like the sort of core demographic for consoles now is just your sort of just your everyday Bob, Mary, and Jane sort of thing. Like, oh, I want a console, as you said, for your kids or whatever.
Well, it's like back in the day when a DVD player was like, something that everyone had. When DVD was at its height, everyone had a DVD player. You had your TV
2005
and your DVD player, right? And then, it's getting to the stage now where everyone's got a TV and some sort of gaming console. There's at least a gaming console in most people's houses.
In everyone's room. At least somebody has a Nintendo Wii in their house. At least.
Well, any kind of gaming console, there's usually one somewhere. You know what I mean? Go to your grandparents' house. They've probably got a Commodore 64 somewhere.
I don't even know what I have. But yeah, it's weird how gaming has kind of changed in the past 10 years. 10 years, think about it, is not a lot of time. But in tech, like, in the gaming world, I remember like having a 360 and thinking that was the greatest thing in the world. Next thing, 10 years later, oh shit, I have a VR headset. I've got, I have a fucking, I have the NASA space station sitting next to me that can pretty much do anything in the world. And
oh yeah,
I can play going straight off a server. Like, I can download as any games I want for like, or was it $10 a month? And
our PCs now are stronger than whatever they sent into space in the 1960s.
My phone is stronger than what they sent into the 1960s.
It's awesome. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think, but I think now I feel like consoles are now marketed towards a different demographic, as Death said, and I kind of see that, I understand that, but the old sort of audience, I think they've completely moved on, or the power users, or because you think about it, like as you said, Divine, like you got your mate who goes home and plays FIFA every day, and they're like, I know people like that. I know some people who like to jump on and play, I don't know, like something like Tomb Raider and just kind of play for a few hours. And I'm like, wait, you play for like an hour? Where's the other one? Where's the 11 hours?
Yeah,
this is disgusting.
One of my mates the other day, was like, how can you sit there and play Sims for 8 hours? And I went, oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. You haven't seen me in my 2-day stretch. Insomnia. Like
days when the Tarkov wipe happened, I played for like 12 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like it was just lucky that a lockdown happened.
It was lucky that a lockdown that allow us to do it.
Yeah.
But
anyway, I think that's gonna have to do us.
That's time.
Yeah. We went a bit longer than usual. We've gone for about an hour and a half now. We have
many things to talk about.
But
we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm gonna enjoy cutting this one down.
Oh, if you need a hand, like, you can send me over some stuff and I can do some editing.
How about I just send you the whole video, Dray? You can cut it down.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's do a Dray podcast. Dray edited podcast. Let's go.
Dray.
Death. Divine.
Anyway, yeah, so that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much. Pine, take it away.
Guys, thank you for tuning into our podcast today. The topic has always changed. You never know what it's going to be. We honestly just hang out, have a good time, and we're so glad you could actually join us today. My name has been Divine Pine. It's been lovely having you with us. And to my left, we have...
is your boy, as always. You know who I am. I am, of course, Dray999, the Hachiroku boy, the Wog Weeb, the absolute chaotic energy of this podcast. And, of course, the main man himself.
I've been Death Knell Zero. I have no descriptive terms for myself. I'm me.
Self-proclaimed FPS god.
Nah, no descriptive terms. I am Death Knell Zero. That's it.
I love it. Guys, thank you for tuning in this week. I'm so excited that you guys could. Next week, we are going to be doing a live stream. Actually, it will be tomorrow for y'all. So make sure you do tune in, depending on when we upload this podcast. Please make sure to check out our socials and everything else in the comments bio down below, around the side, probably floating over one of our heads. Honestly, it's going to be around. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Ciao.